Have you ever felt that invisible hand pulling you back just as you're about to step forward? A whisper in your mind that says, "Don't do it. You're not good enough. You'll fail." It's a feeling many of us know intimately. This pervasive shadow of low self-confidence, it's not just a fleeting doubt. It's a deep-seated belief, a quiet architect of our limitations. It shapes our choices, silences our voices, and often keeps us from realizing our true potential. But what if I told you there's a secret psychological mechanism at play, a deeply ingrained pattern that holds the key to understanding why we feel this way, and more importantly, how to begin dismantling it? This isn't about blaming ourselves, it's about understanding the subtle ways our minds sometimes work against us, creating a prison of perception, a self-fulfilling prophecy. If this video reaches 10 likes and we grow to 500 subscribers, I will give you a powerful book for free, a book that can change your life, and with it, a special gift that only true seekers will value. Subscribe now and be part of the few who step into this journey. The journey of self-discovery is often a lonely one, but it doesn't have to be. Your commitment to growth is a signal, a deep desire to break free from the invisible chains. Don't let the whispers of doubt stop you from claiming what's yours. The core of low self-confidence, that insidious secret, lies in what psychologists call cognitive distortions, or more simply, deeply ingrained limiting beliefs. These aren't just thoughts. They are patterned ways of interpreting reality, often skewed and unhelpful. They are the filters through which we view ourselves, the world, and our place within it. Imagine someone constantly telling themselves, "I'm not smart enough," or "I'm always going to mess this up." These aren't objective truths. They are subjective interpretations, a narrative we've unconsciously adopted and repeated until it feels like absolute fact. This inner monologue becomes a constant companion, influencing every decision, every interaction, every missed opportunity. It's the reason why a brilliant mind might hesitate to speak up in a meeting, why a talented artist might never share their work, why someone with so much love to give might shy away from true connection. The belief precedes the action, or inaction, and reinforces itself in a relentless loop. Where do these limiting beliefs come from, you might ask? Often, they are seeds planted early in life, a critical comment from a parent, a perceived failure in school, a comparison made by a peer. These early experiences, particularly when processed by a developing mind, can crystallize into fundamental assumptions about ourselves. I must be perfect to be loved. My worth depends on external validation. If I fail, it means I am a failure. These aren't logical conclusions. They are emotional imprints etched into our psyche and defended fiercely by our unconscious mind. They become our comfort zone, however uncomfortable that zone may be, because it's known, it's predictable. To challenge them feels like stepping into the unknown, into vulnerability, which our primal brain often equates with danger. So, we cling to these familiar limitations, ironically, in an effort to feel safe, even if that safety means living a smaller life, a life devoid of the very experiences that could prove these beliefs wrong. Consider the concept of the confirmation bias. Our brains are wired to seek out and interpret information in a way that confirms our existing beliefs. If you believe you're not good enough, you will subconsciously notice every small mistake, every minor setback, as proof of your inadequacy, while overlooking or downplaying your successes and strengths. It's like wearing glasses that only allow you to see certain colors. The world isn't monochromatic, but your perception is. This bias is a powerful reinforcement mechanism, constantly feeding the beast of low self-confidence, making it feel undeniable. This isn't about being weak. It's about a fundamental aspect of human cognition, a psychological shortcut that can, in this context, lead us astray. It's a testament to the power of our internal narratives, the stories we tell ourselves, and how those stories shape our reality. We become what we repeatedly think we are. Our minds are not passive recipients of truth. They are active constructors of it. And if we construct a narrative of self-doubt, that narrative will manifest. So, how do we begin to unravel this intricate tapestry of doubt, this web of limiting beliefs? It starts with awareness. The crucial first step: we need to become keen observers of our own thoughts, our inner dialogue. Think of your mind not as a singular entity, but as a stage, and your thoughts as actors performing. Some are benevolent, some are critical. The goal isn't to silence the critical voices entirely. That's often an impossible and counterproductive task, but rather to identify them, to recognize them as separate from your core self, as merely thoughts, not facts. When that familiar whisper of "you can't" arises, instead of immediately accepting it, pause and ask, is this thought truly mine? Or is it a conditioned response, a remnant of an old story? Is this an objective truth, or a limiting belief acting out its old script? This simple act of questioning, of creating a tiny space between stimulus and response, is a revolutionary act of self-empowerment. It's the moment you begin to reclaim agency over your inner world. It's not about positive affirmations that feel hollow. It's about authentic inquiry, a deep dive into the very roots of your internal landscape, and daring to remap it, one thought, one belief at a time. The journey is long and often challenging, but the reward, the potential for a life lived with genuine self-belief, is immeasurable. It asks us to look inward, not with judgment, but with curiosity, to understand the blueprints that have built our current reality, and to consider, what if we could draw new ones? What if the architect of your limits could also be the architect of your freedom? The path to genuine self-confidence isn't about eradicating every single doubt, every fleeting insecurity. That's an unrealistic and often futile pursuit. Instead, it's about a profound shift in how we relate to those doubts. It's about understanding their origins, recognizing the psychological patterns that feed them, and gently, yet persistently, challenging their long-held authority over our inner landscape. It's a continuous journey of self-discovery, an excavation of deeply buried strengths, and a slow, deliberate unveiling of our true, boundless capacities. This isn't a quick fix, a single affirmation, or a moment of enlightenment. It is a commitment, a daily practice of mindful awareness, a willingness to question the old narratives, and to experiment with new ways of being. It means stepping, however hesitantly, into the discomfort of the unknown, trusting that the insights gained are far more valuable than the comfort of familiar limitations. It asks us to become the compassionate observer of our own minds, to acknowledge the fears, but not be ruled by them. It's about recognizing that you are not your thoughts, especially the ones that diminish you. So, as you reflect on this, consider what small act of self-belief, what courageous question, what new narrative will you begin to construct for yourself, starting today? What freedom awaits when you dare to rewrite the story you've unconsciously been telling